is turned off. Do the Clippers foul here?
Not yet. I'd go to the rim right now, though.
James, Caldwell-Pope, back out to James. Beverly all over him. 6 seconds remaining. James, step back, knocked out of his hands, deflected out of bounds. Off that one, that's clearly off of LeBron James' fingertips. And it is changed Clipper ball. Patrick Beverly, what a spectacular defensive play.
Immediately fouled.
They find Paul George. And George is fouled. 15 down in the second half. And get this victory. George hits a pair. Lakers will call timeout with 1.9 remaining. Rondo will inbounds. They've got to score immediately. Davis has it, fires up a three-pointer, and that'll do it. The Clippers with a huge win.
And welcome into Views from the Sideline. It's December 26th, the day after Christmas, after the Clippers beat the Lakers on Christmas Day. I'm your host, Joey Tysick. My partner, Malik Hill. Malik, how you doing? How was your holiday?
Had a pretty good Christmas. It ended on a great note with the Clippers beating the Lakers, especially with LeBron not getting it done in the clutch like he's done several times in his career.
Yes. As we've seen many times
I hope there's a lot of LeBron fans listening. I hope there's tons.
I doubt it.
I'd love to hear them defend him. He was hurt. He was hurt. Okay. All right.
He had Patrick Beverly on him, which Patrick Beverly is a great defender and all.
You're the Terminator.
But he's
LeBron.
also half the size of LeBron.
Yes.
So that should always be an advantage to LeBron, I think. So, we'll get back to Christmas Day games in a little bit, but we're going to start with the NFL this week just to get it out of the way. We got a lot to talk about as far as bowl games go and things like that later that we want to preview. So we're going to get right into it of NFL, go into our picks, everything like that, get that out of the way. So last week in our picks, we both didn't do so hot. I got 8 correct. Malik got 7.
I don't know why I trusted Jameis Winston for another week. I don't know why.
You thought maybe that there could be three good games in a row.
All I know is he needs to be the Tampa Bay quarterback forever.
Yeah,
I want him to hit 30 and 30 next year. I need him to keep this up.
Definitely possible. So in overall picks, I am at 131 and Malik is at 133 with just 1 week to go.
It's closer than it's not. It's too close for comfort.
Yeah,
way too close for comfort.
But I got to make some risky picks probably, and it's gonna be hard.
That's where you usually end up losing it.
Yeah, and it's gonna be hard because there's a lot of second stringers gonna be playing this week. So I'm not sure. But last week, real quick, we'll kind of go through them. Houston beat Tampa Bay 23-20. That puts the Texans to win the AFC South, so they're in the playoffs now. Not much from that game. Jameis Winston just didn't throw good. He has 2 of his best receivers are out. Threw 3 picks within the first half.
Did he open the game with a pick again?
Yes.
Yes. That opening. I wish he'd open every game with an interception just to set the tone.
Yeah, and then he threw a pick not too long in his second drive or something like that. So it was all downhill from there. And
it was still a close game. It was an ugly game. Honestly. Yeah.
That's because a lot of it is the Bucs defense has gotten really good actually. As the season's progressed. In the AFC East, the Patriots beat the Bills 24-17. I would have loved for the Bills to win that game and win the AFC East title.
Another 1 touchdown loss.
Yeah.
They're actually kind of close.
Yeah. And this game, at the end of the week, the Bills have secured their wild card spot. So they are in the playoffs. I'm excited about that. They're a team that I don't think anybody would want to play in the playoffs because they're just kind of spooky a little bit because you don't know what you're going to get from them.
Yeah.
A good game, again, on Saturday was the 49ers beat the Rams 34-31. The Rams are now officially out of the playoffs, and we will not be seeing them, which I think at the beginning of the season, a lot of people thought that they would be Super Bowl contenders. So to see them not even make the playoffs is very surprising.
They got some soul searching to do this offseason.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And like we've said before, Sean McVay may not be as good as everybody thought he was.
And I'm pretty sure they don't have a good pick coming up in the draft. So Yeah, it's a lot of reevaluating from top to
Mhm.
bottom.
And then starting off on Sunday, the Sunday games, the Falcons beat the Jaguars 24-12. And what else could the Falcons do
If I was a
to hurt
Falcons fan,
themselves?
I'd be so mad if I was a Falcons fan.
Yep.
This is so unnecessary.
Yeah, and this is exactly how the Falcons do it. They're average
Yeah.
when they have like top level talent, at least on the offensive side. And for some reason they win games when they shouldn't, and they lose games when they shouldn't, and they sit at 6-9. They're just a weird team.
Terrible middle.
The Ravens clinched the number 1 seed in the playoffs, beating the Browns 31-15. They will have home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
I think we could do a whole podcast on the Browns.
Yeah.
If we could do a whole hour on them, but
Mhm.
is it worth it to waste time
No.
talking about that?
No. They talking about soul searching. The Browns have a lot of soul searching.
They got
to
more
do.
than some soul searching to do. They have new coach searching. They have.
What are they going to do with Odell?
They might need to move the team to another city and start fresh again.
Yep.
Like they did with Baltimore.
Yeah. And then so Baltimore's probably going to sit a lot of people this week. I know RG3 is going to start for them. Lamar Jackson was a little bit banged up, so they're just going to play extra cautious with him, and they're going to sit him in this final week 17. The Saints solidified their spot as the NFC's top seed by beating the Titans 38-28. Drew Brees still looking super strong.
That was a really good game too. Ryan Tannehill had a good game.
Yeah.
I think he's solidified his spot as their starting quarterback.
Yeah. The thing for the Titans in this game was that Derrick Henry didn't play, so that's kind of unfortunate for them. But they are not out of the playoffs yet. They still can fight for their spot this weekend. The Colts beat up on the Panthers 38-6. The Panthers, they played Will Greer. He threw 3 picks.
And not a good debut from good
No.
old Will.
Nope.
Hopefully he gets better. Yeah.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey did his thing with whoever is
It's-
throwing the ball to him.
It's only so much he can do.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who's going to get the ball.
Yep. And then the Dolphins and the Bengals, actually a pretty good game. 38-35, the Dolphins win in overtime, although they kind of blew the lead because the Bengals scored 23 in the fourth quarter. But at least it made it exciting. Fitzmagic had 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Didn't look too bad.
Hall of Famer?
We'll see.
Potential
We'll see.
potential like 6th time his name comes up. Why not put Fitzpatrick in? Huh?
But the more meaningful thing in this game for Detroit Lions fans is the Dolphins now have a better record than the Lions. How
I did
sad
not
is
realize that.
How sad is
They
that?
haven't won since like week 4, right?
Yeah, something like that. So now the Lions improving their draft stock each and every week.
And what do you think they're going to do with that draft pick?
Hope that Chase Young stays
They're gonna
in the draft.
They're going to draft like Justin Herbert or something.
Stop it. Stop it. The Jets beat the Steelers 16-10, which was very surprising, actually. And now the Steelers, they're going to need some help to be able to make the playoffs. This was kind of a boring game. There wasn't a whole lot going on.
I hope they don't get in. Their quarterback situation is
all over the place.
And they just announced Ben Roethlisberger's coming back again.
Oh, really?
So they're going to wheel him out until he literally keels over.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Giants beat the Redskins 41-35. This was kind of a shootout, which was a surprise. Daniel Jones threw for 5 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley had a crazy good game. Almost 200 yards and a touchdown. He also had like a bunch of receiving yards and a touchdown as well. Again, the Giants helping out the Lions. They get a win, so they're now at 4-11. So that moves the lines up again. And then the Redskins sit at 3-12. So the Lions right now have the third pick in the draft.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
This Eagles Giants game coming up, it's good for both sides for the Eagles to just win. The Giants do not need to win that game. Just kind of give a little bit of less effort in that one. Sit Carson Wentz. I said sit Carson Wentz. Sit Daniel Jones. Forget it, man. He proved what he could do this rookie year.
Yeah.
Just play the backups.
To no surprise of us, the Broncos beat the Lions 27-17. It was bad, man. It was bad. The Lions just can't do anything. They can't move the ball.
How about that Bo Scarborough, huh?
And they got ran over. Bo Scarborough didn't play in this game, did he?
I thought he played.
No, I think they ran Hills again. The backup.
Well, doesn't matter. Does it honestly
Oh,
matter?
Scarborough did play. Okay. Oh, but they did bring Kerryon Johnson back in this game too. That was the other thing.
Just sit him out. Why does he need to play?
He ran for 42 yards, averaged 4.2. Scarborough
Nice.
averaged 4.3. Ty Johnson 6.7. So they did okay on the ground, but like David Blau was 12 of 24, 117 yards, touchdown.
Kenny Galladay is turning into something potentially elite.
Yeah,
That may be the one positive.
and he got snubbed from the Pro Bowl. I'm gonna say it.
We're not even going to talk about. I don't even care about the Pro Bowl, but Dak
Still.
Prescott didn't make the Pro Bowl. Like, come on, it's crazy.
Anyway, the Lions just lose final week, and we're sitting pretty for the draft.
Everybody believes Chase Young is coming to Detroit. I need people to stop doing this.
I'm scared though that Washington would just take Chase Young. That
I
would happen.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That would happen to the Lions.
Then he'd be able to team up with Dwayne Haskins and the receiver.
Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, and just make Washington Ohio State.
Yeah, maybe. And then the Lions are going to get the Ohio State corner, Okuda.
Justin Herbert, I'm telling you.
Stop it.
They're
Anyway,
gonna
the
take a chance on him.
Raiders beat the Chargers 24-17. Technically, the Raiders can still make the playoffs. They're another one of those teams that needs a lot of help, but it's there.
Have you seen the Raiders' new stadium?
Yes, it's incredible.
It looks like I can't even describe what that looks like from the outside. It looks like just some ominous thing in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
Like what goes on in there?
just looks like giant tinted windows.
It looks like it could be a spaceship.
yeah,
Like it could just take off from the
like it's a
ground.
NASA building or
Yeah.
something. No, I can see it. I saw that video. It was crazy. Big game of the weekend. The Eagles beat the Cowboys 17-9. And there was some questionable things late in that game that the Cowboys did that nobody understands.
Everything is questionable about the Cowboys.
They sat Amari Cooper and Randall Cobb, I believe.
They didn't.
At one point.
They didn't sit them. Amari Cooper. I'm pretty sure Amari Cooper waved out.
Oh, okay. I don't even
Yeah.
remember.
And also Zeke Elliott waved out on a 3rd and 2, and then they fumbled
Yeah.
because
It was just a weird game. So now
Do
the Eagles have control of the NFC East.
Did the Cowboys bring back Jason Garrett?
I hope not.
I hope they do.
Well, yeah. Okay. You're right.
Actually, I'm gonna say hope not because those I'll kind of feel bad for those fans. As a Michigan fan, it's kind of similar, just disappointment every other year. Get them a new fresh start.
Yeah.
But go Eagles.
Another big surprise on the weekend, the Cardinals beat the Seahawks 27-13. Kenyon Drake just ran all over the Seahawks.
Yeah.
He's looked really good. I'm pretty sure they're going to bring him back next year. He had 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the Seahawks they couldn't really get anything going. They did lose Chris Carson for the season on this game, which is a
And-
big hit for them.
But
And they also
they made an emergency move.
They also have Rashad Penny is out, I believe, for the season now too.
Yeah. It looked like it was a problem,
Yeah.
but then a guy pulled up in a truck full of Skittles.
Yes, the Seahawks have signed Marshawn Lynch to a 1-year contract.
And Robert Turbin, who was his backup.
Yeah. I feel bad though.
Yeah.
They have a was he a 6th round pick? Their running back, their 3rd string running back that was gonna take over the starting job.
I honestly haven't even thought about that. That's sad. That sucks.
They had a 3rd string running
sucks.
back that was going to take over the starting job.
But he was the 3rd string though.
Yeah.
So
and he's a rookie too. But can you imagine like how excited he probably was? And then the next couple days you read, oh, Marshawn Lynch is coming to Seattle.
yeah.
You're probably a little disappointed. But
It's even worse that Robert Turpin is probably about to be ahead of him on
Yeah.
the depth chart too.
and obviously Marshawn Lynch is pretty much a fan favorite around almost anywhere he goes at this point.
He's a legend in Seattle.
Yeah, especially in Seattle, making insane plays for that team. So to bring him back for this playoffs is going to be exciting, I think. He's obviously not what he was. We saw him last with the Raiders, and he looked okay at times, and then other times he looked like an old man running the ball. So it's interesting. Obviously, it'll at least give them somebody in the locker room that is exciting, and I would love to see a touchdown so we can get some Skittles in the end zone. So we'll have to see that moving forward.
For Arizona, possible sign of things to come.
Yeah. And they could go, depending on the draft, obviously, they could get themselves somebody like a Jerry Jeudy or a CeeDee Lamb.
They got to get even more skill around Kyler.
And then, like, with Christian Kirk already kind of coming into his own a little bit.
All their rookie receivers have been hurt this season for the most part.
Yeah. Kyler's starting to show signs that he could make a big jump next year. Sunday night, the Chiefs beat up on the Bears 26-3. The Bears just didn't look good. And the Chiefs looked back to, like, they're going to be a contender, I think. Patrick Mahomes is finally looking really healthy. They even got their run game going in this game, which Kansas City hasn't been able to do all year. Their defense has been getting stops. Granted, it is against a Bears offense that is not very good. But still, holding any team in the NFL to 3 points is always, I think, a success for any defense. So Chiefs easily winning that one. And then Monday night, the big one for the NFC North, the Packers beat the Vikings 23-10. I think is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Just because we thought the Vikings defense was going to show up a little bit better. But Aaron Jones ran all over them. And he had 23 carries, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns. Granted, the Vikings were on their backup running back. Their third string running back. They didn't have Dalvin Cook because of a chest injury. And Alexander Madison, their backup, was also out. And they're going to hold both of those guys out, I believe, until the playoffs start because they're already locked in for the NFC wild card. So it was basically just to win the NFC North so they didn't have to play a wild card game.
I think Kirk Cousins is 0-9 in Monday Night Football games.
Really? I didn't even know that stat.
Yeah, I saw that stat a few days ago. That is absolutely horrible. Honestly, I don't understand. Well, I kind of can understand. He's not the most talented quarterback.
Yeah.
He can get you to a certain place. I'm sure the Vikings knew this when they signed him. They expected the defense to always be dominant, and Kirk Cousins would be good enough to get them points when they need it.
Right.
But, yeah, when the defense isn't dominant and you need points, yeah, stuff like this happens when you need it the most.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, though, like the Vikings on a third-string running back who played well in the preseason, but that's not always going to translate to the regular season. To lose both of their solid running backs that they have for this game, when that's kind of like the way their offense works. Like Kirk Cousins, they've shown, is one of the best play-action passers in the league. So, like, to kind of take that element away a little bit and not have as much of a threatening running game definitely hurts the Vikings. But hats off to the Packers winning the NFC North. But both of those teams are in the playoffs, so ultimately it doesn't entirely matter, in my opinion. So, moving on to Week 17, where some teams have nothing to play for, and then other teams have everything to play for.
A lot of teams just need to lose this week.
Yeah, for the
Honestly,
most part.
yeah.
For the most part. So we're going to get right into it, get into our picks, and all that stuff right off the bat. So, starting off, the Jets at the Buffalo Bills.
Bills.
Do you think the Bills are sitting anybody? That's the thing that I think you have to consider in some of these games. Do the Bills rest their players going into the playoffs, or do they've lost 3 straight games, I think, or something like that, or 3 of their last 4, something like that. They've had a not great stretch.
I think they started.
Recently.
They were like, are they 10-5 now?
Yes,
10-5.
10-5.
Okay. I still trust the Bills' defense enough. The Jets only scored 16 against Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills' defense is better than Pittsburgh's. I'm still going to take the Bills.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take the Bills too. I just can't see the Jets winning.
Yeah.
Cleveland at Cincinnati, the Battle of Ohio, in a snooze fest.
There's a chance that Cleveland could lose this game.
There is a chance.
But it seems like they play better against bad teams. A few weeks ago, Odell had a touchdown. Baker played well. I'm going to go Cleveland.
Okay.
Or do they not care at this point? Is it just all up in the air?
They completely fall apart.
Is Odell going to completely lose it?
Is this the game where the dumpster fire just explodes?
Does he fight another field goal stand on the sidelines?
I'm going with Cleveland still.
I'm so afraid to go with Cleveland, but I'll go with them.
Green Bay at Detroit.
Is this even a question?
I really hope that Detroit loses this game. If they try to win this game,
It's Green Bay.
if they try to win this game, I'm telling you, they go from like the 3rd pick in the draft to potentially like 8 or 9, and then they're gonna draft Justin Herbert.
That would be even more Lions than I expect.
Yep, I'm going with Green Bay.
Yeah.
This is the
Green Bay.
first time I believe all season that I've picked not the Lions. I think, although I might have picked them. I don't know.
You got
I
to
can't
change
remember.
that next year.
There might have been one other time.
You have to change that next year, Joey.
I don't know.
I think you do know deep down inside.
This year it will be the difference. If you end up
Yes.
winning picks, it will be the difference
Yes.
for sure. Chargers at Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Do the Chargers have anything to play for?
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Does Phillip Rivers try to keep his job here? I don't know.
Nobody's taking his job. As long as Phillip, like Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh, as long as they want to play, they're going to keep playing.
Just trying to see what games are competitive because I got to pick 2 different picks than you. I'm going to pick the Chargers in this game. I don't know why. All right. Chicago at Minnesota.
You could go back and pick the Lions.
No.
Chicago at Minnesota?
Yep.
Minnesota.
I'm going with Chicago.
I don't think there's any way Mr. Trubisky has a really good game against the Vikings.
I think just Minnesota's just kind of limping into the playoffs, so I'm going to go with Chicago. Why not? Miami at New England. Even if New
Take
England
Miami.
plays all of their backups, they're going to win.
New England started getting N'Keal Harry into the game plan last week, and that is scary
Yeah.
because Tom Brady hasn't had a deep threat or a real viable option at receiver besides Julian Edelman to really make plays. If he starts hitting what if he hits N'Keal Harry on a deep ball in this game?
He could.
And he starts feeling himself again.
Yeah.
Patriots.
2 of the most interesting teams in the NFL. They don't know if they want to be bad or if they want to be a good team. The Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, man. The matchup of the century.
Yeah. This could actually be exciting because it's just kind of
I'm about to check Jameis' stats real quick because I want to see if he's actually close to 30 and 30. I think he might actually be. Who you taking?
Well, he had 4 interceptions last week, so
Jameis Winston stats. He's at 31 and 28.
nice.
I think he's gonna do it.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Just kidding.
You're kidding?
Falcons.
I think the Falcons have more talent. I'm going to go with the Falcons too. I'm not brave enough to pick the Bucks without their 2 best receivers in this one.
What if Jameis throws no picks in this game?
He might. He might have a 5-touchdown game.
He has thrown 20. Okay.
New Orleans and Carolina at Carolina.
Even if they play Teddy Bridgewater, he's shown it is what. Yeah.
Yep. And even if they play Latavius Murray, he's shown
Exactly.
to be better.
Congratulations to Michael Thomas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good
Breaking
job.
that record, 145 catches. That's insane.
Carolina, figure it out.
He is like 50 catches better than every other receiver in the NFL, which is insane.
It's kind of incredible.
Yeah,
And he played with Teddy Bridgewater for a
exactly.
good portion of the season.
Dominant.
Washington at the Dallas Cowboys. I would love to see Washington win this game. mostly because it helps the Lions.
That would
but
be
at the same time, it would be hilarious.
It would be the most disastrous loss
for the Cowboys.
maybe in Cowboys history. This would be one of the most disastrous losses.
Yeah.
Imagine if Washington beat them like 30-7. Like, are you taking the Cowboys?
I don't know. I kind of want to take Washington. I know I shouldn't.
I'm going Cowboys, man. There's no way they can embarrass themselves to that level. That's a different kind of low.
I think there's enough games that I can pick differently.
Go back and choose the Lions.
I'm going with Washington.
Hey,
I don't care to throw the season away if I need to.
Now just listen. I'm the angel on your shoulder, Joey.
Because if I take
go back and take the line, you trust.
No.
You know you
No.
trust them.
No.
You know you trust them.
Oakland at Denver. Oakland still in the playoff race.
I'm going with Denver.
I'm going with Oakland.
I think Drew Lock is starting to get a nice rhythm.
Philip Lindsay had a really good game. It was against the Lions.
I don't think Drew Lock had any turnovers last week, and that's Darius Slay was back.
Yeah, he didn't have a great game though. I think he had about like 200
He was
yards.
like 14 to 25 for like 195.
Yeah,
but still no turnovers for. Yeah, I'm gonna go Broncos.
Okay. Arizona at the Rams. Does Arizona keep up this hot streak?
Arizona at the Rams.
Did the Rams completely fall apart?
I think the Rams don't. I don't think they really have anything. I think Denver, they're gonna play this game like it's gonna set a tone going into next season. I think the Rams will look flat, and they'll just be looking for answers in this one. I'm gonna go Arizona.
Okay. I'm going to go Arizona too. I think they figured it out with Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
I think that makes their offense more dynamic. Philadelphia at the New York Giants. Philadelphia, if they win this game, they win the NFC East, make the playoffs. Giants, like we said, nothing to play for.
Giants, you have no reason
to win this game.
To
even try to win this game.
Exactly. Sit your starters. Everybody's seen what Daniel Jones can do. Everybody knows how good Saquon is. Man, just sit them.
Yeah.
Let the Eagles win the division. Be nice. The Eli era is over. You're not going for the playoffs.
Yep.
Go Eagles.
Yep. I agree. 100%.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Indianapolis at Jacksonville.
Jacksonville has not looked good.
Yeah, I can't pick Jacksonville. Something about just changing the quarterback to Nick Foles.
It completely threw off their
Yeah, because as soon as they brought Gardner Minshew back in, he didn't look as good as he did early on this season.
It's because it turns out they need a quarterback that can move around and make plays, and Nick Foles isn't. I said in the preseason, Nick Foles needs a strong O-line and like very good skill players around him to succeed.
Right.
He doesn't have that. They need a quarterback that can move around, and throwing in Nick Foles threw things off.
Yep.
So. I wonder, is Minshew starting?
I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, why would they play Nick Foles, honestly?
I don't know.
I'm going to go, you know what? Jaguars.
Okay.
Shaking things up. I like that.
I'm going with
I like
Indianapolis.
that, okay.
So.
Okay.
Pittsburgh at Baltimore, as we said.
Baltimore's
playing their backups. Pittsburgh, I think, is still in the playoff race, though.
RG3 is going to beat whoever Pittsburgh has at quarterback.
The Steelers. Trying to look at the wild card.
I wish the Ravens would start Trace McSorley. I'm really interested in seeing what he can do in an NFL game.
Oh, but even if the Steelers win, the Titans would have to lose for the Steelers to make the playoffs. You picked Baltimore?
Yeah, I feel like it might be close, but I feel like Baltimore is still going to win.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh.
Their team morale right now, I feel like anybody, like second stringers, maybe even a few third stringers, I feel like their backups are just as ready and hype.
Yeah, they're excited.
Their starters are going to be hyped for them playing.
They do have backups like Gus Edwards and stuff that have had plenty of touches and things like that.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that. I'm just going to go out on a limb and take Pittsburgh at this point. Maybe Minka Fitzpatrick can win this game for them. Big game 2, Tennessee at Houston. Tennessee, again, if they win their game, they make the playoffs. That's basically it. Win or go home. And then they open the door.
You said Tennessee at who?
Houston.
Oh, they play again?
Yeah.
Huh. Wait, is it Houston at Tennessee? Tennessee played at Houston a few weeks ago, didn't they?
I'm pretty sure this one is at Houston. Tennessee at Houston.
Didn't they?
They played
The
very
game that was
recently.
24-21 2 weeks ago. I'm pretty sure that game was in Houston.
Are you sure? They're playing in Houston. This week 17 is in Houston.
Huh.
I think week 15 was in Tennessee then.
Oh, all right then. Well,
I'll double check.
I'm going to take Tennessee again this time. I really like the Titans, man.
Why can I not see it? Oh, yeah. It was at Tennessee in
Okay.
week 15. So now it's in Houston.
Yeah, I feel like Tennessee has more to fight for in this one. Houston already has won the division.
Yeah.
I think Tennessee's good enough, especially if Derrick Henry plays. I think they win this one.
Okay. I'm going to go with Houston. I think they still kind of want to solidify themselves as a playoff team because they've been kind of wishy-washy lately. They've been kind of up and down. So I'm just going to go with Houston, kind of try to make a statement, I guess. And then Monday night, San Francisco at Seattle. Big rematch again on Monday night. I don't know who I got in this one because Seattle losing to Arizona, I feel like, is kind of rough for them to now come play San Francisco on Monday night. I don't know if San Francisco is going to be.
I was about to say San Francisco sitting guys.
They might be because the Saints have won the NFC
After that huge win last week, I don't see a reason for them to play all their starters.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Seattle.
Okay. I'm going to go with San Francisco. I think their defense is just too strong, and I think their defense might win this game.
You believe in Nick Mullins? Wait, is he even on that team anymore?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who
idea.
their back. I don't know if it's C.J. Beathard. I can't remember who their backup is now.
I think it might be C.J. Beathard. That's who I think it is.
Okay.
At least. So, yeah, those are our picks. We'll see who comes out on top. We do have quite a few different picks, so either Malik's going to completely run away with it or I will make the comeback in victorious fashion.
I'm going to dominate this week. Even without you picking the Lions, you're going to make some mistakes.
We'll see. Moving on, we're going to touch on the NBA real quick. We'll talk about the Christmas Day games that happened. And starting off, the first game of the day was the Celtics playing the Raptors. Celtics beat the Raptors 118-102. Jaylen Brown had a huge game in this game.
Yeah. Kemba was efficient.
Kemba was doing his thing. The Celtics are looking good.
They're on a roll.
They're looking like they were a couple years ago when they had Isaiah Thomas and things like that playing well. So Celtics are looking up. The Raptors are still a really good team. Fred VanVleet had 27 in this game.
Yeah, they were just Pascal didn't play.
Right. So there's not a whole lot to talk about in this game. They're like two teams in the East that are very strong that I think people underrated going into this season a lot. The next game of the day was a big surprise, I think, where the Sixers beat the Bucks 121-109. Joel Embiid actually played really good defense on Giannis.
Fantastic, yeah.
I'll pull up Giannis' stats real quick because I don't remember him, but he shot terribly. I know he was 0 of 7 from the three-point line.
It's one of his worst performances in the past few years.
Yeah, he was 8 of 27 from the field. He did have 14 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal, a block, but only had 18 points, and he was super inefficient. Obviously, that's going to happen from time to time with superstars like that, but that was just a notable thing in this game for Joel Embiid to kind of have a big game here. And the Sixers finally showed, too, that they're really deep, and they can, if everybody's on, they're tough because they have so many different weapons.
But the thing is, there's going to be a lot of times when they're not on.
Right.
And they still don't have Furkan Korkmaz might be their most dependable shooter.
Yeah.
Josh Richardson is so on and off. Tobias Harris sometimes looks like he's not comfortable in his role. And then Joel Embiid just looks out of it sometimes. So
Yeah.
it's consistency is their problem.
Yep. And they're still not a great 3-point shooting team overall.
Yeah.
But like I said, in this game, they shot really good. So that's kind of the hard thing about the Sixers team to judge, is that sometimes they can look really good,
Exactly.
or then sometimes they look like a middle of the road Eastern Conference team.
Yesterday is how they looked at their best.
Yeah.
And they looked
Yep.
phenomenal.
Yeah. Middle of the day, big surprise. The Warriors beat the Rockets 116-104.
Listen, man.
Damian Lee for the Golden State Warriors led the team. 22 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists. You know who he is? Because I don't.
Listen. Everybody thinks they're tough until Draymond Green starts hitting threes. That should pretty much just be the headline for this entire game.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of James and Russ, what do they have?
Well, and that's the thing I was going to bring up in this game, is that the Warriors double teamed James Harden almost every play down the floor. And that led to Russell Westbrook having to take control. Russell Westbrook shot 11
took control, he did.
He shot 11 of 32, 0 of 8 from the three-point line. He still had 30 points, 12 rebounds. But then on the other side, his counterpart, James Harden, 9 of 18, 6 of 10 from 3, 24 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds. Super efficient, but he didn't have the same volume that he normally does. And that slowed the Rockets down.
That's the problem. James has to shoot a ton of shots.
Yeah.
James and Russ have to shoot a ton of shots for them to win.
Yep. And nobody else on that team stepped up. Ben McLemore, who's actually had a resurgent season, shot 2 of 9, all 3-pointers. Austin Rivers, 2 of 8, 1 of 5 from 3.
Starting small forward, Daniel House.
Yep.
I'm sure most people don't even realize that.
He had 18 points, 5 of 12 from the 3.
Why did Daniel House take 12 threes?
Because
this team,
that's a Mark D'Antoni team.
But you don't have the personnel.
They shot 16 of 51 from the 3-point line.
They don't have the personnel. Daryl Morey's analytical plan is backfiring on him so bad. Because they just keep trying to put together teams that fit this dream, and it's not working.
Yeah, and even on the Warriors, like D'Angelo Russell, he shot 8 of 19. He should have just not shot any threes because he was 1 of 10 from the 3-point line. Take the threes away, he would have been almost perfect from the field. He finished with 20 points. He did okay, but then Damian Lee had 22. Willie Cauley-Stein had 10. He had a solid defensive game. He had 4 blocks. Glenn Robinson III had 18. I told you he could play.
We're not going to go over that again.
Draymond Green had 20 in this game.
That's a career high 20 for Draymond Green. Let's emphasize that real quick. Am I wrong? Michigan State's own.
He's not meant to be an offensive weapon.
He's a great role player, I know.
That is not his career high.
Maybe it was the high for the season.
They
kept emphasizing it was his high, and they never said season high.
I'm sure it was his season high.
It probably was the season high, but that's terrible.
Yeah, I agree. When he has all of his star players that are usually alongside him gone, yeah, that's pretty bad. But
they won.
Yeah, I think the Warriors kind of showed that the Rockets can be really bad at times.
Yeah, not just that they can be beaten, the fact that they're not that good.
They can be even more extreme of hot and cold than the Sixers.
Yeah.
And you don't want that in the Western Conference because other teams are going to eat that up.
Also, there was a play that went viral. Somebody put up a highlight. It was in the fourth quarter. The Rockets had a possession where James Harden brought it off the court and then passed it. And through the whole shot clock, he stood at the top of the key and watched everything. He didn't move. He stood there for a minute with his hands out for the ball, and then he just stood up and looked at everybody.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
MVP James Harden.
Draymond Green's career high is 31 points. Just by the way.
Phenomenal.
just heads up. Then the biggest game of the night for most people, Clippers versus the Lakers. Clippers won 111-106. That was our opening clip, mostly due to Patrick Beverley blocking LeBron late in the game with about 18 seconds or something left. Maybe less. It was probably less at that point.
That was a big reason, but the Clippers won that game.
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard dominated.
And the Lakers were up by 15, I believe, at one point. Clippers slowly clawed back into it. Kawhi Leonard had a big game, 35 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. And they did it with Paul George having a relatively subpar game. So that's just kind of what this Clippers team is. They're just tough, tenacious, and they get stops when they need them. And I think they have more weapons than the Lakers, and that's like the biggest thing for them.
The Lakers are still, although their record is phenomenal, and they're playing very well as a team, I think once it gets to playoff time, you've got to have more than 3 guys that can get buckets. Once Kyle Kuzma cooled off from his insane run, the Clippers didn't have a problem just clawing back slowly because nobody else could really get it going.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they got Lou Williams out there, Montrezl Harrell, who's really stepped up. And then you got guys like Patrick Beverley that just want to play defense.
Exactly.
And that mixture of key guys fitting into specific roles, I think really will help the Clippers down the stretch in a lot of major games. The other notable thing in this game that I've heard people bring up is that there was a lot of times late in the game that Anthony Davis just didn't touch the ball. And meanwhile, obviously LeBron is getting touches, but the ball was in Rajon Rondo's hand a lot, KCP's hand a lot. Anthony Davis is the best player on the Lakers, and they didn't give him the ball to try to finish the game, which I think is a little bit interesting. Maybe it was just a mistake by them late in that game, but that's something I think they need to fix.
Are you going to pass up the Pelicans beating the Nuggets?
No, I'm going to talk about that. But I was going to...
Last but not save the best for last.
I was going to real quickly, too, talk about how Dwight Howard was ineffective in this game where he's been playing pretty good this season. JaVale McGee did nothing. So overall, just the Lakers' big men couldn't hang. They didn't do anything. And I think they need those guys to get going. And yes, the nightcap, the Pelicans surprisingly beat the Denver Nuggets 112-100. Brandon Ingram continuing his fantastic season, 31 points, 7 rebounds, couple assists, couple steals. And again, he's doing it super efficiently, 7 of 9 from the 3-point line. And this is another one of those games where I know that the Pelicans have talent. It just doesn't always come out, and they're super flat sometimes. Yeah. For Denver, it was kind of a weird game. They just shot really poorly. Jamal Murray had a really bad game, 2 of 10 from the field, 8 points. Nikola Jokic, he did all right, but not to his standards necessarily. Paul Millsap was ineffective, and he played 16 minutes. He did basically nothing.
Weird game for Denver. They'll play. They're going to play better than this most games.
Yep, and they're still getting Michael Porter Jr. is starting to play, so that's kind of exciting for them. So you never know. And they're that team that has such a deep bench that I think sometimes they can kind of get lost within themselves, where they don't necessarily go with what's working, and they try to just keep rotating their lineup. Yeah. But still, solid win for the Pelicans. They still don't know about Zion's timeline. They're going to be really careful with him, even though he says that he wants to play. I don't think they're going to let him.
I saw a report earlier that said they're teaching him how to walk and run differently, which is honestly a good thing, because I feel like the way he plays, it could lead to more injury. So they're trying to teach him how to be how to play, how to just be a different type of athlete.
Right. Which is very hard to do.
Yeah.
At this stage in somebody's career. So it'll be interesting what they do with that. Okay. Now for our final topic. Bowl game season. We had a couple bowls already happen. Nothing too crazy.
Well, there were a few games that surprised. As usual, games you think that'll just be absolute snooze fests end up being exciting.
Yep. I'll go over them real quick, and then anyone that you want to touch on, just stop me. And I think I know some of them. Buffalo beat Charlotte 31-9. Yay, Bahamas Bowl. Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. Kent State beat Utah State 51-41.
Nobody saw that one coming.
Nice shootout. Yeah, and Utah State was a solid team.
And Jordan Love, their quarterback, before the game, he got in trouble. Him and a few of his teammates got in trouble. Got caught with weed in their dorm. Just regular college kid stuff, but you're the quarterback of the team, so he declared for the draft. He's not coming back.
Yep. And he went out there and he had a solid game.
Yeah, he had a pretty good game, but Kent State, they weren't afraid. They took it to him and won their first bowl game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good win for them for sure. Mitsubishi Motors Las Vegas Bowl, somewhat of a surprise. Washington beat Boise State 38-7. Boise State was ranked, and yes, they play in a smaller conference, so it's not a crazy surprise. But I think for Washington to blow them out was the surprise in this game.
Because it was Chris Peterson's last game. On second thoughts, I realized this isn't a crazy surprise, like you said, because they were pretty much playing for him in that one.
Right. Yeah. So good win for Washington. New Orleans Bowl, Appalachian State beat UAB 31-17. I think that was kind of expected. I don't think anything.
Yeah, good season for them.
Yeah, very good season. Disappointing season for Central Michigan in the New Mexico Bowl. San Diego State blew them out.
The fact that they made it to a bowl game is something else. Jim McElwain has them going in the right direction, but people thought San Diego State couldn't score.
Yeah,
and
I think the way that Central finished their season, losing a tough one in the MAC championship and then getting blown out in their bowl game
by a team that's not even that great offensively.
Yeah, it just kind of hurt. Yeah, just kind of hurt. The FBC Mortgage Cure Bowl, Liberty beating Georgia Southern.
First bowl win for Liberty.
Be honest, I don't know about either of those teams. If we're talking Liberty basketball, I could say a little bit more.
Once we get to NFL draft talk, there is a receiver for Liberty that might be a top 3-round pick. Maybe like 3rd round. He's a big, strong, athletic guy.
Yeah. The Cheribundi Boca Raton Bowl.
Put some sauce on that one.
Florida Atlantic beat up on SMU 52-28.
This was a weird one.
Yeah, I thought this would have been more of a shootout, which it was for Florida Atlantic.
Yeah.
But I thought SMU could have kept up a little bit more.
Florida Atlantic lost Lane Kiffin, and they still showed up
Yeah,
with all the confidence in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they looked really good in that game. In the Camellia Bowl, Arkansas State beat Florida International 34-26. I don't know anything about this.
Only thing I got to say about that is I'm doing a dynasty on NCAA 14 with Florida International right now.
Gosh.
I already have 2 national championships. Go Panthers.
Wow. Then those were the weekend games. And then on December 23rd, UCF beat Marshall 48-25. I think that was kind of expected.
Yeah.
For the most part, they kind of just ran over Marshall. This isn't the same Marshall team that you've seen in the movies. So then on Christmas Eve, Hawaii beat BYU 38-34.
Pretty exciting game.
I was going to say it's pretty much kind of how I chalked it up to be a close one. Cole McDonald threw for almost 500 yards, 493, and 4 touchdowns for Hawaii. Looked pretty good in that.
They won a home game. Hawaii won the Hawaii Bowl.
Have the biggest advantage of any of these teams.
Yeah.
So those were all the bowl games that we've had so far. Now moving forward, tomorrow North Carolina is going to play Temple.
You're not going to talk about the one that comes on in a few hours? Well, actually in like 15 minutes.
Oh, I forgot it because those are at the top. I forgot the way that ESPN puts it up. Today, Louisiana Tech playing Miami in the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl.
I'm going Louisiana Tech. I have no belief in Miami.
Yeah. Miami's a weird team.
Yes.
Really weird. I don't know either. But
just jump on the bandwagon.
Louisiana
with me.
Tech. Yeah, let's go for it.
Yes.
And then the nightcap game, Pittsburgh playing Eastern Michigan in the Quick Lane Bowl. I mean, I'd obviously like to see Eastern Michigan win. And they're at Ford Field. So fingers crossed.
I feel like this might not be a good one for Eastern.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh
I
is a good team. I feel like this is good that they made a bowl game. This is like 3 bowl games in a row.
Right.
Chris Creighton is going to be gone from there very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be cool if they got this win. I don't expect it, but it'd be cool if they got it.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's probably going to win it.
Yeah. So nothing crazy for these bowl games. And then, like I said, tomorrow, North Carolina playing Temple. I think Temple will win this game.
I'm going Carolina. I'm on that Sam Howell bandwagon.
Okay.
Mac Brown and those Tar Heels.
All right. Okay. I don't even know. I mean, we've already talked about this game a little bit, but Michigan State taking on Wake Forest.
Give me those Demon Deacons.
And the Pinstripe Bowl. 3:20 playing at Yankee Stadium.
What is this weather going to be like? They're playing
in New York.
Yeah. How cold is it going to be, man?
I don't know.
I wish it said it under the game information. I'm not looking up New York weather, but I'm taking the Demon Deacons. Even though this game might be more suited for Michigan State in this cold weather.
Yeah.
I just feel like
I just picture Michigan State falling apart.
Yeah. Dave Clawson is a better coach right now than D'Antoni. And what he's doing at Wake Forest is phenomenal. He might be gone from Wake Forest soon, too. He's going to go for a bigger job.
Yeah.
Take Wake Forest.
I'm going to ride with MSU, but there's part of me that wishes that they lose and just say, get rid of D'Antonio. Like, he needs to go. The Outdoors Texas Bowl, Oklahoma State taking on Texas A&M. I'm pretty sure Oklahoma State's going to win this game.
Spencer Sanders is out, their starting quarterback. And I don't know if Chuba Hubbard is playing. He declared for the draft. I don't know if he's out.
Oh.
So,
well,
yeah, it's a toss-up in that one.
The more you know. I don't know. The games that I've seen Texas A&M play, they just don't look that good.
They either put up big points and surprise or they underwhelm. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go Texas A&M.
Okay. We'll do the whole thing. San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl.
Yeah.
USC taking on Iowa. Kind of the first exciting bowl game, I guess. 2 ranked teams at least.
Yeah.
USC sitting at 22, Iowa number 16. I'm rooting for the Big Ten. I'm going to root for Big Ten in pretty much all the bowl games. So I'm hoping Iowa wins this game. I feel like they're the better team, but who knows?
I am going to take USC.
Of course.
And I feel like it really won't even be a good win or lose.
Yeah.
I feel like this game is almost pointless for them. They just finished it like they finished outside of the top 50 in recruiting in their early signing day.
Yeah.
Like nothing is looking good for that football program right now.
Yep.
So
they're not the USC that people remember.
Yeah. Maybe they win this one and give the fans a little bit to be happy about. They have a promising freshman quarterback, got some good receivers. Maybe they just rattle up those points on Iowa. We'll see.
Yeah. The Cheez-It Bowl, Air Force taking on Washington State.
The Cheez-It Bowl might be the most generic bowl there is, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm going to take Washington State in this game.
I'm going to take Air Force because I feel like Washington State, their defense has been not good all season.
Oh, I think it's going to be a shootout, if anything.
Preparing for the option is tough.
Yeah.
I feel like Air Force pulls out even though Air Force is 10-2.
Right. Technically, it's an upset.
Yeah, Washington State is in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
I feel like Air Force surprises.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then moving on to Saturday games, we got the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. Memphis taking on Penn State. I just think, even though Memphis has had a really good season, I think Penn State playing in the Big Ten is just too much. I'm going with Penn State. Not much else to say for me.
I want to take Memphis because their offense has just been on fire. It's like since the middle of the season. They have so many weapons, like top-notch weapons too. They have like NFL type talent.
Yeah.
And it's Mike Norvell bringing that type of talent to Memphis was and really great to see. Their offense could put some points up on Penn State, but I don't trust their defense.
Yep.
This is Penn State at the end of the day.
Right.
I think Memphis comes out hot, but I think Penn State ends up winning it in the end.
Then we got the Camping World Bowl. Notre Dame taking on Iowa State. I kind of want to take Iowa State.
I do too.
Let's go.
I'm such an Iowa State fan.
Let's go.
Let's just take them.
Cyclones. Okay.
Let's just go with Iowa
I'm
State.
going with Iowa State
Yeah.
then.
I want them to win this so bad.
Yeah. Maybe it's just we don't want to see Notre Dame win.
That also.
I mean, that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always like the Cyclones. So then on Saturday, do you want to talk about the playoff games? Or do you want
Should we save the rest of the games for next week? Because there are a lot of games. There are a lot more games.
Well,
it will take a while for us to get through all.
We would have to go next. We'd have to talk on Thursday or something, though. That's the problem.
I love us having this conversation mid podcast. This is amazing.
let's talk about round one of the playoffs then.
Yeah,
and then we can either go back and cover the other games after they've been played.
Yeah,
or we can figure something out. Yeah. Okay, so 4:00 on Saturday, Oklahoma taking on LSU. I love me Jalen Hurts, but I don't know if I can pick against LSU. Like, they're so good right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna root for Oklahoma in this game because I would like to see kind of an underdog game, but realistically, I don't see them winning.
Yeah. I feel like over the past week, whenever I see people talking about this matchup, I hear people like Oklahoma has all this time to prepare for LSU's defense. Their offense is just as explosive. If you give them this much time, LSU has all this time to prepare for Oklahoma also.
Right.
I mean, they're coming off an SEC championship where they dominated Georgia.
Yeah.
Who isn't a slouch, although their offense has been so-so all season. Not a slouch.
Yep.
They have talent. Derek Stingley, a true freshman, is one of the best corners in the country. He was dominant. They have Grant Delpit, best safety in the country. He's probably going to be a top 20 pick in the NFL draft.
Yep.
The thing is, will they get pressure on Jalen Hurts? Will Derek Stingley as a freshman be able to handle CeeDee Lamb, who's also probably going to be a first-round pick in the draft?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think LSU's defense has enough to make Jalen Hurts uncomfortable. In the past 5 weeks, he's been so on and off.
Mm-hmm.
He'll throw 2 touchdowns. He'll throw 2 picks. They end up squeaking out a win. That's almost how it's been for the past 5 or 6 weeks. They got to be at the top of their game for this. I feel like they'll put up some points, but I don't think they have enough to stop Joe Burrow and that offense consistently.
Yeah.
I'm going with a score of something like 45-28 LSU.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, that's probably the most realistic answer. Because, again, like we said kind of all season, is that Oklahoma is going to have to just outscore their opponent every time because they're not going to get stops. It's just not what this team does.
And although their defense has improved a lot from last year, they were just atrocious on defense last year. But LSU, it's still they get stops when they need to, but they keep it so they're so on it. They're so wishy-washy.
Yeah, and LSU has top level talent, like you said, on the defensive end to be able to stop Oklahoma a couple times, and that's all they need, really. Just stop them a couple times because Joe Burrow, I think, will do the rest for that team. So most likely LSU is going to win this game, but I am going to be rooting for Oklahoma.
Yeah, but there's a chance Oklahoma could win because LSU's had a problem with running quarterbacks. They played Ole Miss. John Rice Plumlee put up like 200 rushing yards against them. And I don't know if it's going to be easy for them to get pressure on Joe Burrow, Oklahoma, because he gets the ball out quick. So it's going to be an interesting matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm excited. And then the nightcap, Clemson playing Ohio State. This is a really interesting game, I think, even more so than the other game, because this is where we find out if Clemson is Clemson and they're like what they were last year and things like that, because they just haven't looked as dominant as they were last year. And part of it we think is that they're just kind of taking it easy
But-
throughout the season.
A lot of people haven't noticed that it started clicking in the last 4 weeks
Right.
of the season.
No, yeah.
When they started turning it on, and I think they're Clemson.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part. And then Ohio State, once again, kind of trying to hold down the fort for the Big Ten to say, oh, the Big Ten, yeah, within the division, they're usually really solid.
Coming off of a shaky conference championship.
Exactly. It's hard for the Big Ten, like recently, for the Big Ten to compete with the top level SEC teams. So in this game, it's kind of like, can Ohio State hang with the big dogs? Like, are they that team and good enough to make the college football final? And I think they are. The problem being Clemson. Again, like they've been so good.
Yeah.
And Ohio State's defense is definitely one of the best defenses in the country. But can they stop Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne? I don't know. This game is super interesting to me because it's kind of similar on both sides. Like both teams are really trying to prove that they're legit this year.
Yeah, it's up in the air. It's up in the air matchup for a lot of people.
Yeah, and
But-
I think it will come down to the ground game for both teams.
Yeah.
J.K.
Travis Etienne versus J.K. Dobbins is a great matchup.
Yeah, and I think J.K. Dobbins really sets the tone a lot for Ohio State to be able to do more things with Justin Fields. So I think he's going to have a big game in this one. And same with Clemson. I mean, obviously, Trevor Lawrence is going to do his thing, I think. And it's the same on the other side, too, is like for LSU, can they get pressure on Jalen Hurts? Can Ohio State get pressure on Trevor Lawrence and make him throw some bad passes or something like that? Because with Chase Young and Okuda back there for the corner, they could disrupt him, I think, a little bit. So that's where, again, the running game is going to be very important for both sides.
Yeah. Honestly, man, this is a really tough one. Since week 6, Trevor Lawrence, he started off the season first 5-6 weeks. I think it was 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Since then, he's had 20 touchdowns and 0 interceptions since week 6.
Yeah.
So it clicked, and he's just been going ever since. Ohio State has the defense to make him play like he did in the first half of the season, where he was just going for deep shots and trying to go big every other play. Then you have the factor of Justin Fields. He's not fully healthy.
Right.
He said himself his knee isn't responding like he wants it to. He's going to be about 80%. So I think in the end, Clemson is just going to be too much.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 38-27 Clemson.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a score for you, but I think I'm going to still go with Clemson in this game. I do sort of want to see Ohio State win as much as I don't like them. Like I said, I do enjoy seeing the Big Ten doing something in bowl games and especially being in a playoff game. So it would be nice to just see the Big Ten there, even though I don't like Ohio State. Anything else you want to touch on? We can maybe do some other stuff next week. Unless you want to really quickly touch on Michigan, Alabama, like the New Year's games.
I guess we could. I guess we could talk about that game for a minute. Yes.
What are your thoughts?
I don't have much hope in that matchup. Mac Jones is going to start.
Yep.
He put up a lot of points on Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
All the starters are playing. Alabama's defense has shown holes during the season, but they're motivated.
Yeah. They had a bad season, and I feel like that's fuel for them.
Yeah.
That everybody just is talking about, oh, Alabama, they're not even in conversation for being a good team necessarily this year.
Yeah, man. I'm going Alabama 52-.
The problem is you have to like compare it basis off like the Ohio State game.
52-14. to 20. I think Michigan can get 20.
Yeah. Okay.
Even if they win this game, it doesn't matter. Let's not get too deep into this.
I don't know.
I don't want to dive into this hole again.
Are you sure that if Michigan wins, it's not a big deal?
Not at all. It means nothing.
Okay.
It means nothing.
Okay.
Listen, man, Michigan still isn't recruiting on the higher levels. They're not coaching on the higher level. This win would be big to most Michigan fans, but come on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, since the rest of it we're basically going to have to review, I would assume, because we probably won't be able to do a podcast till next Thursday. I'm going to really quickly just on some of the big games, just take a pick of who you want or who you think's going to win. So New Year's Day obviously has some of the bigger ones. Minnesota and Auburn. Who you got?
I got Auburn. Although I want PJ Fleck to row the boat.
I was going to say,
I think Auburn's defense, they have like a top 3 defense in the country.
Yeah, I
man.
mean, they're so good.
Yeah.
I'm still going to pick Minnesota, though, and that's definitely biased.
Rashad Bateman is one of the best receivers in the country.
Yeah.
He might get his.
It's 100% biased, but I'm picking Minnesota. Rose Bowl, Oregon, Wisconsin. Who you got?
I'm going with Oregon.
Justin Herbert. Okay.
Not because of Justin Herbert.
Okay.
I think they were probably besides Utah the toughest team in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
I think they won't back down from Wisconsin. I think their defense will be ready, and Justin Herbert will impress.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Wisconsin only because
He's going all Big Ten, huh?
a little bit, but this one is more basis than
Okay.
Minnesota over Auburn. I just think Wisconsin showing signs against that last game against Ohio State. I think that they're going to want to go out kind of on top or kind of have a bang. I think Jonathan Taylor could have a big game in this one. And the way that Wisconsin controls the ball if they have the lead is very important. So I think if they're going to win it, they're going to have to come out early, and they're going to have to score early to get out ahead. But I think once they have that lead, they just control the ball so well that I think that's how they would win this game. So that's just my pick. Then Sugar Bowl, Georgia playing Baylor.
I want Baylor to win this
I
one,
was going to say
but I don't know if
they're good enough.
yeah. The fact that they're here is phenomenal. Like they've done a great job rebuilding in 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
But Georgia is beat up. I'm gonna go Baylor.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Baylor. Georgia's still really beat up.
Yeah. I'm going to go Baylor as well. And that's mostly upset reason, just wanting the upset. And I think Georgia could be like just limping into this bowl game the way they kind of finished
Yeah.
out the season. Wasn't
Like last year, Texas beat them. Yeah.
right. It wasn't the way they wanted it. They had a chance to make the college football playoff. And now they're going to either that'll happen, they'll kind of limp into it and just not be motivated, or they'll go into it thinking, oh, we're playing Baylor, we should be able to roll them, and then just get surprised and one of those type of things. But yeah, I'm going to go with Baylor too. And again, I do want Baylor to win. So a little bias there for underdogs. Anyway, that's been Views for the Sideline. We'll probably convene next week, probably Thursday as well, and we'll be able to recap all of these games, see what happens. Hopefully the bowl games are exciting. I'm always excited to watch them. So hopefully there's some underdogs that win games, or there's at least some exciting games, especially the college football playoff games. Those are the ones I'll be keeping the biggest eye on, I guess. But we'll review everything next week. I'm your host, Joey Tysick, my partner, Malik Hill. Everybody have a safe, happy new year, and we'll see you in the next decade.
I can't wait till the playoffs so all these LeBron apologists really start crying and throwing all those excuses when he doesn't show up in the clutch. Can't wait. I hope all you get riled up. Happy New Year.